What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Weird History. I'm bringing you the strangest tales and practices from the past that they definitely didn't teach you in school. In today's episode, we're diving into 15 totally bizarre historical moments that might make you look at the past a little differently. From using radioactive materials as children's toys to employing live-in hermits as garden decorations, humanity has come up with some pretty wild ideas over the years. Some of this stuff is so out there it sounds like I'm messing with you, but I promise all these stories are 100% real, though a bit hard to believe. So, buckle up and get ready to have your mind blown as we uncover 15 insane historical moments they don't mention in textbooks. Number 15, revolutionizing medicine. A bizarre carnival of treatments. Kicking things off at number 15, we have the totally bonkers medical treatments people used to swear by. I'm talking about things like bloodletting as a cure for fevers. They'd literally drain your life force to make you better. Makes total sense, right? Not to mention people chomping on mercury pills to treat syphilis. Yes, the poisonous metal mercury was considered medicine. The consequences were as disastrous as you'd expect, but it gets crazier. Even beauty treatments back in the day were legit health hazards. Acid for intimate hygiene? Yikes. Thank goodness for advancements like penicillin that revolutionized healthcare and saved us from medical insanity. Number 14, evolving silhouettes, the girdle revolution. At number 14, we've got the evolution of the girdle. Hard to imagine now, but undergarments were once as popular as yoga pants, though not nearly as comfortable. Girdles transitioned women away from rib-crushing corsets into slightly more liberating shapes. Still cinched, but not to the point of fainting, so progress. Their rise coincided with changing attitudes about feminine fashion and women's roles. Even if girdles make me want to breathe deeply, just looking at them. Number 13, parcel post, shipping kids in the mail. Coming in at number 13 is the totally weird phenomenon of mailing children through the postal service. I kid you not, when parcel post launched in 1913, parents would pop their kids in boxes and ship them off. One baby even traveled solo for just 15 cents. Can you believe it? If you like our content, please feel free to like and subscribe to get all the new videos that we intend to publish. Number 12, elevated infant lounging, the tale of baby cages. Alright, swing over to number 12 for the story of baby cages. Essentially cozy boxes suspended outside apartment windows to give infants fresh air. Suddenly, those leashed kid harnesses at the mall don't seem so bad. Doctors claimed babies needed open air circulation, but letting them dangle in the wind seems a bit extreme for health reasons. Though I'm not gonna lie, a baby swaying in the breeze does sound kind of cute and peaceful. Just keep them away from bird predators and we're good. Number 11, Atomic Adventure, the Gilbert U-238 Atomic Energy Lab. Now brace yourself for number 11, the radioactive Gilbert Atomic Energy Lab, marketed to children in the 1950s. This playset came with 4 types of actual uranium to play with plus a Geiger counter and government manual for finding more radioactive material. What could go wrong letting kids split atoms at home? Surprisingly less than you'd think given the number sold, though I don't recommend finding an original set on eBay. The 1950s were carefree, but also pretty insane when you think about it. Number 10, the lost art of employing hermits. Gliding down to number 10, we have a tradition straight out of a fantasy novel. Wealthy estate owners hiring hermits as living garden decorations. Just a humble monk type chilling in a shack to add mystery and intrigue. The job description was pretty much walk around looking mysterious. As silly as it sounds, ornamental hermits were a big deal in England in the 1700s. The allure faded by the 1800s. Once people realized you could just build a gnome statue for way cheaper. But you gotta admit, a living, breathing garden hermit does sound pretty cool. Number 9, the surprising evolution of costume festivities. Number 9 spotlights the unusual history of Thanksgiving costumes. Back in the late 1800s, Thanksgiving was bigger for costumes than Halloween. Kids paraded around begging adults for candy and treats while dressed up in vibrant outfits. Newspapers back then even complained about the traditions being disruptive. But the costumes live on now in Thanksgiving Day parades, even if the begging for candy has moved to Halloween. Number 8, the surprising history of boys in dresses. Alright, number 8 is one that really messes with your head. Boys regularly wearing dresses until age 6 or 7. Not that long ago, this was totally normal. Why, you ask? Well, dresses were just easier to get kids in and out of before modern convenient closures on pants were invented. There wasn't really any deep meaning behind it. But then how did we end up with such extremely gendered clothing for babies today? Marketing playing on traditions and norms mostly. Crazy how cultural tides shift so much. Number 7. From horror to heritage, the transformation of insane asylums. Moving down to number 7, we've got the transformation of insane asylums from disturbing institutions into a source of heritage and history. The way we treated mental illness in the past is shocking, confining people in nightmarish conditions. But the abandoned asylums still standing act as eerie reminders of progress made. Their haunting shadows symbolize society's capacity for positive change. Now the creepy halls serve as sought-after destinations for photographers and explorers. Number 6. Guns and school clubs. The shocking throwback of the 1960s. Swinging into number 6, we've got a jaw-dropper. High school gun clubs and shooting ranges used to be a common thing. As bizarre as it sounds, students could just casually walk into school with rifles and pistols in plain sight. Heck, some even commuted on public transit with guns. Hard to imagine that flying today. Can you picture metal detectors being cool with students packing heat? Me neither. Number 5. Revolutionizing women's healthcare. Halving the list at number 5 is the disturbing lack of women's healthcare research until super recently. Like, it was 2016 before they made it mandatory to include females in medical trials. Up until then, diagnoses and treatments were based primarily on male biology. Wild, right? You won't believe some of the wacky women's health advice doctors used to push. Let's just say leeches were involved in some very uncomfortable places. Things have thankfully improved, but still a long way to go for including women. Number 4. The youth of yesteryears as laborers in miniature. Now number 4 covers the unsettling phenomenon of using young children for grueling factory labor. We're talking kids as young as 3 or 4 working long hours in many industries. Coal mines, textiles, you name it. They were supposed to earn money for their parents. But when you read first-hand accounts from the time, the kids were clearly being exploited. Thankfully, child labor laws now exist, though some exceptions remain on farms and such. But still, the images of exhausted tiny children working factories are heartbreaking. Number 3, Eternal Memories Victorian-era Postmortem. Photography. Recoiling down to number 3, we discover the eerie practice of postmortem photography in the Victorian era. Essentially, snapping portraits with dead loved ones posed as if alive. It was meant to memorialize the departed, though the photos give off some uncanny valley vibes for sure. Photographers would position the bodies with family or favorite items. Some even made the corpses look like they were sleeping. Super creepy by today's standards, but surprisingly comforting for grieving families back then. Humans have some morbid ways of coping. Number 2. Narcotics, seductive deception. Careening ahead to number 2, we have the deceitful history of narcotics being marketed as non-addictive pain relief. When it first debuted, narcotics was hailed as a safer morphine substitute. Doctors prescribed it like crazy for headaches, coughs, you name it. Of course, we now know narcotics is extremely addictive with devastating consequences. But the companies that made it pushed lies and misinformation to hook the public. By 1910, narcotics addiction was rampant. Just shows the deadly cost of greed in healthcare, don't you agree? Number 1, the bizarre history of tapeworm diets. And finally, at number 1, we have the completely demented trend of tapeworm diets during the Victorian era. That's right, eating parasites to lose weight. People literally bought and ate tapeworm eggs thinking the worms would eat their excess food. Advertisements promised effortless weight loss with no change to diet or exercise. And it worked, sort of. Except for all the horrifying digestive side effects and malnutrition. Shockingly, some still try this insane diet today, but thankfully it's faded into obscurity. All right, everyone, that wraps up this rather eye-opening look at peculiar moments in history you definitely didn't know about. Let me know in the comments which of these you found most mind-blowing. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more bizarre bits of knowledge from the past. Stay weird out there, friends. Catch you next time.